Yes, it's Father Knows Best, transcribed in Hollywood, starring Robert Young as father. A half-hour visit with your neighbors, the Andersons. Brought to you by America's favorite coffee, Maxwell House. The coffee that's always good to the last drop. To be or not to be, that's quite a question, isn't it? Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of trouble. That's a question, too, and quite a problem. In Springfield, in the white frame house on Maple Street, the Andersons are old hands when it comes to questions and problems. Big problems, little problems, they've had their share of them all. Like this.
I've never seen anything like it in my whole life.
Jim.
Oh, bless, O Lord, this food to our use and our lives to thy service. Amen.
Amen. All right, Kathy, eat your dinner.
Say, Dad.
Tell me golf is a game of skill.
Dad.
He couldn't do anything wrong, and I couldn't do anything right.
Dad.
What is it, Bud?
Look at Betty.
What about her? Betty? Betty,
What?
what's the matter with you?
Nothing, Father. Nothing at all.
Well, stop daydreaming and eat your dinner.
Yes, Father.
She still thinks she's Camille.
All right, Kathy.
I think she's nuts.
Bud.
Well, holy cow, Mom. She walks around coughing all the time.
Never mind, Bud. Just eat your dinner and be quiet.
Holy cow.
You know what he did on the sixth hole, Margaret? He sliced one out of bounds, it hit a tree, and bounced right back on the green.
Yes, dear.
That's a great way to win the semifinals, isn't it? Skill. Huh.
Daddy,
What is it, Kathy?
why do they call Marguerite the Lady of the Camellias?
Because that's what she wore, camellias. Now forget about it and eat your dinner.
Gee whiz.
Betty, will you please pass the butter?
Father,
What is it, Betty?
it's very kind of you, monsieur, to speak to me so gently.
What?
Here is the butter.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Betty, what in the name of... What's gotten into you?
Why, nothing, Father.
Well, then stop it. The play is over. You were wonderful. You were sensational, but it's over. Now come on back to earth.
It's all right, Jim. It may take her a few days, but she'll get over it.
I know, but a man can stand just so much. We've had Camille for breakfast, dinner, and supper for the last month, and I'm getting sick of it. If this keeps up, she won't be in any more plays, and that's a promise.
What a play.
Oh, Armand, I love you.
Nobody even got shot or anything.
Father,
What is it, Betty?
do you know who was in the audience last night?
We were.
A talent scout from Hollywood. Wouldn't it be wonderful?
Betty,
Yes, Father.
don't fall into the swimming pool.
What?
Betty, I saw the show last night, and, well, this is a practical world. You've got to realize...
Jim.
Margaret, I'm merely trying to explain to her...
Jim, she's so young. Let her dream. Just for a little while.
Well, I think the entire thing is ridiculous.
Me too.
Eat your dinner and be quiet.
Gee whiz.
I'm going to dedicate myself, my entire life, to the theater.
Bud, pass the potatoes, please.
You want to know why?
No. Come on, Bud.
Here you are, Dad.
Thank you.
Because there are moments when I lose myself in that dream. Because there are days when I am weary of the life I lead and imagine that I have another. Because in the midst of my turbulent existence, though my reason, my pride, my senses are alive, my heart is so tired of never finding tender understanding. Little do people care.
Ah, shut up.
Bud.
Mother, what he said.
Bud, how dare you speak that way to your sister?
Well, holy cow, Mom.
Jim, will you please say something to Bud?
Hello, Bud.
Hi, Dad.
Jim Anderson, it is not funny, and I don't care what Betty did. There's no excuse.
Your mother's right, Bud. You shouldn't have said it.
I know, Dad, but good gravy.
Tell Betty you're sorry, and, well, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Betty. I shouldn't have said what I said.
You want me to forgive you? Dear one, what is there to forgive? In a world such as ours...
Betty, for Pete's sake, cut it out.
But, Father...
You've been spouting Camille around here until I've got it coming out of my ears. Now stop it.
Very well. But when I'm a famous movie star and they ask me who was responsible for my success...
Margaret, she isn't just counting her chickens. She's selling next year's eggs.
Betty, we mustn't raise our hopes too high.
What do you mean, our hopes? Bud, that was the doorbell.
I know.
Well, answer it.
Holy cow. I think there was a law that nobody else was allowed to open the door.
Margaret, you certainly don't think that Betty has a chance of being a movie star, do you?
Why not? I've seen certain people a lot less talented than Betty.
But she isn't trained for it. She isn't prepared.
Father, they train you.
And she and Janie Liggett are both preparing.
What?
Kathy.
Well, you and Janie were trying on sweaters, and she said...
Kathy.
Kathy, why don't you go in and do your homework?
I haven't finished my milk.
Well, finish it. And behave yourself.
Hi, Betty.
Oh, Billy, come on
Hello,
in.
Billy. Glad to see you.
Hello, Mr. Anderson, Mrs. Anderson. Beautiful evening, isn't it?
Oh, hello, Billy. How are your mother and father?
Just fine, thank you.
Would you care for a piece of cake?
No, thanks. We've got to run along. Janie Liggett's throwing a big party for the Dramatic Club. Sort of a celebration, you know.
Yes, Betty was telling us. Bud, what are you doing out there?
I'm waiting for the doorbell to ring again.
Stop being such a smart aleck and come back here. Unless you'd rather skip the dinner.
Well, every time I sit down, the doorbell rings, and I'm the only one who ever gets to answer it, so...
Sit down and finish your dinner.
Holy cow.
We were just talking about the play. Weren't we, Jim?
Yes, we certainly were.
We thought it was wonderful. Didn't we, dear?
Yes, we certainly were talking about it.
Billy, tell them what the club critique said about my performance.
Well, as the director of the various productions, I run a critique after each performance. A sort of symposium. And we're quite ruthless in our critical analysis. In a constructive way, of course.
Of course.
What did he say?
Never mind. Just drink your milk.
I drank it.
Well, drink Bud. Go ahead, Billy.
Well, as I was saying, we decided that while Betty's performance lacked the polish of a more experienced artiste, it had warmth, spirit, and a certain objective maturity you can only describe as éclat.
You don't say.
Oh, yes. Why, when she was dying, didn't you notice the brilliant resonance in her cough? She had a timbre you'll find in mighty few Camille's.
Well, she comes by it naturally. Her grandfather was a champion hog caller.
Jim, Billy and Betty are being quite sincere and earnest.
Well, so am I. Just because you can cough loud, that doesn't mean they're going to send you to Hollywood.
Who said anything about Hollywood?
Billy Smith, you told me there was a talent scout in the audience.
Woman's place is in the home, caring for her family, sharing the joys and sorrows of the man she loves.
Mother, have you ever heard anything more prehistoric?
Betty, I really don't think...
Just a minute, Margaret. Betty, this is one quarrel you aren't going to drag us into. If you and Billy want to fight, do it on your own time.
But, Father, he's so pig-headed.
I am not pig-headed. I just believe in equal rights for men. That's all.
Betty, if you're going to the Liggett, go.
I spent a whole month preparing for Camille.
Betty.
And then he has the nerve to tell me.
Betty.
Yes, Father?
Go.
Well, come on, Billy.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Billy. Glad you
I
came
won't
over.
be out too late, Mother.
All right, dear. Have a good time.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Gosh, Betty, I didn't mean to get you all excited.
I'm not excited, but there's no reason why I can't take a screen test if I want to.
But why? I told you in the very beginning.
Of all the idiotic arguments I've ever heard.
Well, at least it's a little different.
Daddy,
What is it, Kathy?
why doesn't Billy want Betty to go into the movies?
I don't know, baby. I guess he just wants her to stay in Springfield.
Why?
So they can smooch, Dopey.
Bud.
Well, if she doesn't know...
But if there are any clinical replies to be given around here, please let me give them.
Holy cow.
Kathy, you see, when you're very young and in love, you dream up all kinds of things. Now, actually, there isn't any reason for Betty and Billy.
There, you see?
What?
I told you it was going to ring again, and you said I was being a smart aleck.
I don't know. Isn't there going to be one evening we can go through without all this fuss and excitement?
Bud, stop making such an issue of it and answer the door.
I'll answer it myself. He can finish his dinner.
I'll go, Dad.
Never mind. Just do as you're told. Has to walk a full 20 feet to get to the front door. You'd think it was going to kill him.
I'll pour your coffee, dear.
All right, Margaret. I'll be right back.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes?
my name is Kay. Alfred Kay. May I come in?
Why, yes. Come right in.
Thank you. You probably heard that I was in town.
Well, quite frankly, no.
Oh, I thought you had. Mr. Anderson, I represent the Metropolitan Picture Corporation of Hollywood.
Metropolitan. You mean you're the talent scout?
You did hear about me.
Margaret, he's here. He came.
What is
The talent scout, he's it. I mean, he's here. He's right here now.
Mr. Anderson, there's no need to get excited.
What on earth are you talking
What's
about?
the matter, Dad?
I want to see too.
Margaret, this is my wife, Mrs. Kay. I mean,
Mrs. Anderson, I'm Alfred Kay of Metropolitan Pictures.
Oh, no.
Holy cow.
God.
now let's not get excited, children. Let's just keep our heads. Just keep our heads.
Bud, call the Liggets immediately. Tell them to send Betty home at once.
Okay, Mom.
Oh, I wouldn't go to all that trouble, Mrs. Anderson.
Oh, it's no trouble, Mr. Kay. No trouble at all. Let's go into the living room where we can be more comfortable.
Thank you. That'll be very nice.
You can't imagine how excited we are, Mr. Kay.
Well, I think I can. After all, a thing like this doesn't happen every day, does it? Well, that's better.
Don't I get to say hello?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathy. Mr. Kay, this is our younger daughter, Kathleen.
Yes. Yes. I noticed her in the audience last night. How are you, Kathleen?
I'm very pleased to meet you, sir.
Oh, sweet child. Mr. Anderson.
Hey, Mom. Betty isn't there yet, but I told them about the talent scout, and they said they'd send her home the second that she came in.
That's fine, Bud. Just fine.
We're very proud of Betty, Mr. Kay.
But I'm not sure she wants to go into pictures. You see...
Well, that needn't bother us, Mr. Anderson. I want to talk to you about a screen test for Kathleen.
Kathy?
Oh, no.
A cup of coffee keeps right on making good news these days. In stores everywhere, grocers have been featuring Maxwell House at lower prices. And now they're featuring lower prices still on America's favorite brand of coffee. Something we're all happy to see. You, your grocer, and Maxwell House, too. Now the world's most famous coffee flavor comes to you at the lowest prices in months. Wonderful, good to the last drop flavor you can count on cup after cup, day after day. Because with Maxwell House coffee, we have just one aim, to bring you the most in flavor and satisfaction every pound you buy. To bring you truly good coffee at the lowest possible price. That's why you find so much more flavor for your money in Maxwell House. Your money's worth and more in real pleasure. And at today's prices, it's more than ever today's coffee buy. Look for that familiar blue Maxwell House tin in your store. Featured these days at still lower prices. The lowest prices in months. See how much you enjoy a cup of coffee that's always good to the last drop.
very few minutes have passed in the white frame house on Maple Street, and the status is not what you would call exactly quo. Betty is on her way back from the Liggets to meet the talent scout, and Billy Smith, who is jealous, doesn't want her to meet the talent scout, we think. But that's all right, because the talent scout has left anyway. And besides, he didn't want Betty, he wanted Kathy. And furthermore, well, you can see how, with just a little consideration and common sense, normal excitement can be completely controlled and turned into a sort of seething confusion, like this.
But, Daddy, you said you didn't want me to go into the movies.
I know, but you didn't have to tell him you'd rather be a lady wrestler.
Well, I would.
Jim, I'm worried.
About what?
About Betty. What are we going to tell her?
What can we tell her? We'll tell her the truth, that's all.
Jim, there are times when the truth can be very cruel, especially to an imaginative young girl.
Well, I'm certainly not going to lie to her.
Lying is a sin.
Kathy, why don't you dry up? Can't you see we've got a problem?
Yes, Bobby.
Kathleen, if you start that phony coughing again...
I'm sorry, Father. I'll try to control myself, even though something deep within me...
Stop it. Margaret, if she's going to keep that up...
She won't, Jim. Will you, Kathy?
Will I what?
Kathy, darling. Mommy and Daddy have a great problem. We need your help.
Boy, are you in trouble.
But...
Well, holy cow. If you have to count on that knothead.
Mother!
But if you can't behave yourself, I'd suggest you go to bed.
I'm sorry.
Margaret, the plain truth of the matter is that the man wasn't impressed with Betty's performance. That's what we'll have to tell her.
I know, Jim, but not right away.
I still think he was a little out of his mind, telling me Kathy looked like a Da Vinci cherub. Kathy, stop it.
I'm sorry, Daddy. I forgot.
Margaret,
Yes, dear.
do you suppose we made a mistake? We could have sent her all the way out to California.
Jim.
What have you got against California?
You just keep it up, Bud. That's all. When I get to be a lady wrestler...
Kathy, please. We have a very great favor to ask of you, and we haven't very much time.
Margaret, I say you're making a mistake. Tell Betty the truth, and if she isn't big enough to take it...
Jim, believe me, this is one time when the truth is a very dangerous thing. If we can just convince Betty that she doesn't want to go to Hollywood.
I can just see that.
We can try, Jim. If we succeed and she doesn't want to go, then it won't make any difference if she finds out about Kathy.
In other words, you're going to put yourself at the mercy of that, cherub.
What else can we do?
Dad, how would it be?
Just a moment, Bud, please. Kathy, will you promise not to say anything to Betty about Mr. K?
Not even I'm a cherub?
Not even that.
Gee whiz.
Kathy, I have here a list titled Damages for May. Kathleen Anderson. 4 windows, 1 windshield, 2 rose bushes, 1 shrub.
Is that just May?
First half.
Gosh.
Well?
Okay, Mommy. I won't talk.
Thank you, dear.
Boy, parents can sure louse up your life.
Kathy.
Mother!
We're in the living room, Betty.
Remember, Kathy, not a word.
Okay.
Kathy.
You mean I can't even cough?
I'm sorry we took so long, but you know how traffic is these days.
We left the second Janie told us, but...
Mother, where is he?
Well, you see, dear.
But Janie said the talent scout was here. She told me.
Daddy sent him away.
Father!
Kathy.
Well, I didn't tell her who.
Bud, take Kathy upstairs.
Come on, Squirt.
I don't want to go upstairs. I won't say anything on her.
Come on, will ya?
Well, stop scolding me. Why do you always have to scold me?
Father, you didn't send him away. Tell me you didn't send him away.
I'm sorry, Betty, but I did.
Oh, Father,
Betty, your father and I felt it was...
My entire life is ruined. Everything I'd hoped for, everything I'd planned.
Betty, if you'd only try to understand.
Understand? Mr. Anderson, this sort of treachery passes all understanding.
What?
As Betty's director, I say you have perpetrated a crime against the arts. Stolen from the silver screen one of its most glittering gems. You have purloined...
Wait a minute. Which side are you on, anyway? You said you didn't want Betty to go into pictures.
I said that? I? Did Svengali hide Trilby under a bushel basket? Did Cecil B. DeMille?
Oh, go home.
Father!
Stop saying father. If you must know the truth...
Jim, please.
Margaret, if they're going to accuse me of having ruined the movie industry...
Betty, whatever we did was for your good. You must know that.
But after I'd worked so hard and so long, a whole month, and it's just thrown away.
Honey, you aren't ready to be an actress. You haven't lived enough or suffered enough.
I could have lived and suffered in Hollywood, couldn't I?
Betty's a great actress. One of the greatest I've ever directed. And I've had almost 2 years of it.
Wait a minute, Billy. Betty, you know, you might think Springfield is pretty dull and monotonous. But this is where you belong. This is your home.
That has nothing to do with it. I wanted a career. I wanted to be a success. And you spoiled everything.
Did I? Betty, there's one thing you've got to learn. There are a great many kinds of career. Your mother has a career, a very fine career. Your mother and millions of women just like your mother. They've raised families. They've built homes. They've worked for their husbands and helped them in 1,000 different ways. Without women like your mother, life would be a very difficult thing. True, being a wife and a mother isn't as glamorous as being a movie star, but the rewards are so much greater.
I never heard of anybody getting an Oscar for being a mother.
Well, they give out different rewards to mothers. They give a mother a baby's tears to carry in her heart. They give her laughter and love to comfort her on lonely nights. They give her dirty faces to wash and hems to let out. They give her the greatest collection of memories a woman can want. You can take all your picture stars, all your scientists, all your women who have made names for themselves in industry and commerce, and the most successful woman, the woman with the greatest possible career, is still the plain, everyday mother.
That's telling her, Dad.
Jim.
Just a minute, Margaret. Weren't you kids told to go upstairs?
We are upstairs.
But you didn't say we couldn't listen.
Well, go do your homework or something.
Holy cow.
I'll get it.
Father,
Yes, Betty?
I'm sorry I was such a goon.
Oh, you weren't at all, Betty. You just didn't understand.
Being a mother is a very difficult thing. Very difficult indeed.
Especially if you're a man.
Yes. What?
Never mind.
Betty, naturally, we realize that you're very disappointed.
Oh, no, I'm not, Mother. Not really, I guess.
Well, anyway, you've got something Janie Liggett hasn't got. They didn't want her to be a movie star.
That's right. Wait until she hears I turned it down. Oh, Billy.
Now, just a second, Betty. Let's not make a big thing out of this. Oh, who was that on the phone, Kathy?
Oh, I took care of it. It was just a reporter from the Springfield Herald.
Kathy,
Yes, Father.
what did he want?
Oh, information about the screen test.
Jim, you'd better call them back.
Oh, he doesn't have to, Mommy. I told the man everything he wanted to know.
Which is what?
Well, he wanted to know if it was true that Miss Betty Anderson had been offered a screen test.
And what did you tell him?
I told him, yes.
Oh.
And I told him she turned it down and he wanted to know why. So I told him.
Kathy, what did you tell him?
Well, just what you said. I told him that Betty didn't want to go to Hollywood. And he said why. And I told him she was going to stay in Springfield on account of she was going to be a mother.
Yes, it's Father Knows Best, transcribed in Hollywood, starring Robert Young as father. A half-hour visit with your neighbors, the Andersons. Brought to you by America's favorite coffee, Maxwell House. The coffee that's always good to the last drop. A decade or so before the turn of the 20th century, the city editor of the New York Sun came up with a remarkably simple definition of news. When a dog bites a man, he said, that is not news because it happens so often. But if a man bites a dog, that is news. Well, in Springfield, in the white frame house on Maple Street, news may very well be in the making. Nothing unusual has happened thus far, but it's quite possible that before the week is out, a man named Anderson will bite a dog. Like this.
Holy cow, Dad, I couldn't help it.
Bud, when you signed the good driving pledge...
But I wasn't even driving, Dad. The car was just sitting there.
And the fender dropped off all by itself.
Sure.
Bud, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
But it's true, Dad.
I wouldn't be surprised if the whole car fell apart.
Is that so? There's nothing wrong with the car, and you know it.
Daddy,
What is it, Kathy?
did you know that in the polar regions, dogs are the chief means of transportation?
What's that got to do with Bud knocking a fender off the car?
I didn't knock it off, Dad. It fell off.
Bud, unless you're willing to tell me the truth...
Jim, Bud is not in the habit of telling lies, and if he says the fender fell off, then it fell off.
And we put it back on again with wire, Dad. You'd never even know the difference.
Oh, fine. Bud, if I ever find out... Oh, never mind. May I have my coffee, Margaret?
Of course, dear. Here you are.
Thank you.
Nothing.
What?
It doesn't have anything to do with Bud knocking a fender off the car.
I did not.
Wait a minute, Bud. Kathy, what doesn't have anything to do with Bud knocking a fender off the car?
Dogs are the chief means of transportation in the polar regions.
Fine. I'll order a dog sled in the morning. Is that what you want?
Oh, no. I just wanted to tell you.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. That car's practically as good as it was the day we bought it. Might need a little paint here and there.
Daddy,
What is it, Kathy?
did you know that the dog has been chosen as the companion of man because of his fidelity and intelligence?
Well, I'd heard rumors, but it's nice to have it on such complete authority.
You're welcome.
Dad,
Yes, Bud.
does that mean that I can't have the car on Thursday anymore?
No, I suppose it'll be all right. But in the future, I wish you'd be a little more careful, that's all.
I wouldn't be surprised if the roof caved in.
Betty, what's gotten into you? Until tonight, the only complaint you ever had about the car was that you didn't get it often enough.
Jim,
Yes, Margaret?
the Liggetts have a new car.
A convertible.
Oh. Well, pardon me.
Dogs are bred for sport, as watchdogs, for guarding and driving sheep, and for plain, ordinary dogs.
Kathy, deep in your obscure little mind,
How see you it is?
you stay right where you are. I want to get to the bottom of this dissertation on dogs. Bud,
Yes, Dan?
see who's at the door.
Holy cow. You think nobody else around here knew how to open a door?
All right, Kathy. Will you explain something to me as simply as possible? Why this sudden interest in the history of our canine companions?
Huh?
Dogs.
Oh, well, dogs are pets, and everybody says they're man's best friend, and they'd probably be girls' best friends, too. And I don't see why.
Kathy, are you going to start that dog business again?
But everybody I know has a dog, and I don't see why.
You know as well as I that Betty's allergic to dogs. They make her sneeze.
Dad, it's Mr. Davis.
Oh, come on in, Ed.
Hello, Jim, Margaret.
Hello, Ed.
Hello, girls.
Hello, Mr. Davis.
We're just finishing our dinner, Ed. How about a cup of coffee?
Oh, no, thanks, Jim. I just want to talk to you about your dog.
Our what?
Well, I wouldn't mind if it were just an ordinary rose bush, Jim, but this was a Bengal. A genuine Hibiscus rosa sinensis.
Ed.
I only had two, and you ought to see the one he dug up. It's a complete wreck.
Ed.
Yes, Jim.
What dog?
Why, your dog.
We don't have a dog. You know that.
Daddy.
Jim, I dislike this whole thing as much as you do, but that bush cost me $13. Ed, we don't have a dog.
Daddy.
And I wouldn't even know where to get another one. They only had two in town. I bought both of them. Ed. Yes, Jim. We don't have a dog.
Daddy.
Kathy, I'm talking to Mr. Davis.
I know, Daddy, but I want to tell you something.
All right, what is it?
We have a dog.
Fine. Look, Ed, I know how you must feel, but... We what?
Kathy, you're joking.
What do you mean, we have a dog?
Oh, it was such a poor little dog, Daddy. And it kept following me and following me.
Kathy, you mean we have a dog here?
Uh-huh.
Betty, stop that.
I can't stop it, Father.
You certainly can. Kathy, you've been told 1,000 times not to bring a dog into the house.
Achoo! She's just doing that to be mean.
I am done.
She wasn't sneezing before, and the dog was here all the time.
Where?
What?
Where is it?
Where's what?
The dog.
Oh, the dog. Achoo!
Kathy, where did you put the dog?
In the playroom.
Well, we'll just see about that. Of course, it isn't the most valuable rose bush in the world, Jim, but if you knew the trouble I'd gone through...
Jim, where are you going?
Down to the playroom.
Oh, Daddy, please don't be mean to the little dog. He wouldn't hurt a fly.
Where do you think you're going, Bud?
Oh, can I come with you? Gosh, I just want to look at it.
I didn't mean to start all this trouble, Jim, but after all, he did dig up the rose bush. I know, Ed. I'll be very glad to pay for it as soon as we... Oh... My aching back. Look at the size of that thing.
Holy cow.
I'll just wait for you upstairs, Jim. Kathy, that isn't a dog. It's a werewolf.
No, it isn't, Daddy. It's a dog, and you're frightening him.
I'm frightening him.
Poor little fella. We're not going to hurt you.
Kathy, get away from him.
But, Daddy.
You heard me, Kathy. You don't get away from that dog. Well, stay over there if that's what he wants. But don't get too close.
Jim, Ed Davis said there was a lion in the basement. Did you? Oh, Kathy.
Isn't he cute, Mommy?
Kathy, come over here.
You better do as your mother says, Kathy.
Maybe she better do what the dog says.
Oh, Jim, what are we going to do?
We're going to find out where he belongs and get rid of him. That's what we're going to do.
Oh, Daddy, you can't. He's such a beautiful dog, and he's so easy to feed. All he eats is cookies.
Bud. See what the tag says on his collar.
On his collar? Me?
Oh, he won't hurt you, Bud. Will you, George?
Well, go ahead, Bud. There's nothing to be afraid of.
That's a nice fella. Nice, George.
His name isn't exactly George, Bud. I just call him that.
Oh, you're a great help. Nice boy. That's a nice boy. Atta boy.
What does it say, Bud?
Gargantua the Third.
Oh, that's how you say it.
Property of Michael Reed, Orchard Avenue.
Orchard Avenue? Well, that's a mile away. How did he get clear over here?
I think he walked.
Well, he can walk right back. Bud, call Mr. Reed and tell him we have his dog.
Oh, Daddy, no.
Oh, Daddy, yes.
Kathleen, it isn't our dog, and we've got to send him back home.
But, Mommy, I love him so.
Don't cry, Kathy. Gosh, you've still got us.
Everybody's got somebody. And all I have is
You want me to answer it, Dad?
No, never mind. I'm right here.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes?
I'm Mr. Reed's chauffeur.
Oh, yes. Come on right in.
Oh, thank you. Very nice of you to go to all this trouble.
Oh, it's no trouble at all.
Mr. Reed was quite concerned about Gargantua, quite concerned.
Well, we weren't too happy about him ourselves. Kathy,
You want me, Daddy?
the man is here for the dog.
Gee, well.
She'll have it up here in just a minute. Peculiar-looking animal, isn't it?
Oh, no, it's a very valuable dog. Weimaraner.
You don't say.
Yes, it's a German hunting dog. Very intelligent.
Well, that's a matter of opinion. Kathy, will you please hurry?
Daddy, I can't find him.
You what?
Oh, Daddy, the most terrible thing happened. He got away.
Kathy,
But he did, Daddy. I just opened the door, and he was gone.
you didn't happen to give him a push.
Oh, Daddy, how can you say? Well, maybe one little push.
Now, see here, Kathleen.
Oh, you don't have to worry, Daddy. I think I can find him again. Later.
I'm awfully sorry about this.
I understand.
Oh, hello, Ed.
Oh, Jim, I don't like
Ed, please, I told you I'd get you another rose bush, and I will. First thing in the morning.
I know, Jim, but after all, now...
George got away.
Yes, I know he got away. Only he didn't get far enough away.
Have you seen him?
Yes, I've seen him. He's in my backyard, and he's having a wonderful time.
All right, Kathy, go get him.
Gee whiz.
And, Jim,
Yes?
when you get that hibiscus sinensis tomorrow, make it 2.
Oh, no.
All across the country, there's good news about coffee these days. Grocers everywhere are featuring Maxwell House at lower prices. That's right. These days, the coffee with that wonderful good to the last drop flavor comes to you at the lowest prices in months. A mighty welcome occasion for everybody. You, your grocer, yes, and for Maxwell House, too. With Maxwell House coffee, we've always aimed at one thing, to bring you the best in coffee at the lowest possible price. And that's meant a lot. Meant you could always count on more flavor for your money in every cup of Maxwell House, more wonderfully good cups of coffee in every pound. It's the reason why, year after year, folks everywhere have found Maxwell House is true economy. And nowadays, Maxwell House is more than ever today's coffee buy. The world's most famous coffee flavor is yours to enjoy every cup you pour. And the price is the lowest in months. So tomorrow, get your money's worth and more. Bring home a familiar blue tin of Maxwell House and start enjoying coffee that's always good to the last drop.
The dog is a creature whose principal feature is love, and there's nothing can daunt him. He'll stay by your side as though he were tied, especially if you don't want him. A few days have gone by, and in Springfield we find a most unhappy individual. Between roses, which cannot be found, and a dog which refuses to get lost, Jim Anderson's lot is a miserable one indeed. Like this.
Go on, get him.
Oh, isn't he cute, Daddy? He wants to play.
Well, tell him to play with something else.
But he likes you, Daddy.
All right, I like him, but you don't see me biting his shoes.
Oh, he just wants to be friendly.
No good, Fender. Why don't they make the bolts big enough? They don't want you to fix your car, that's what. Expect you to buy a new one every 5 minutes.
Daddy,
What is it, Kathy?
George is hungry.
George is hungry. George is sleepy. George. Kathy,
Yes, Daddy?
how many times have you found that dog?
6.
And how many times have we sent him home?
6.
Most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Any dog that's stupid enough to get trapped in back of a fence 6 times in a row.
Hi, Jim.
Oh, Ed, come on over here. I've got good news for you.
Okay. Hey, see, George is back again.
Yeah, idiotic animal. Comes clear over here from Orchard Avenue and then gets stuck in back of the Willoughby's fence. Smart dog.
He is smart, Daddy. He knows that's where I meet him.
Well, why don't you leave him there? Let somebody else find him for a change.
But, Daddy, the Willoughbys moved away. There wouldn't be anybody to feed him.
He can always eat rose bushes. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you, Ed. There they are.
You mean those?
Yep, 2 Bengals, and I had to go clear to Plainfield to get them.
Jim, I don't like to be difficult, but those aren't Bengals.
They most certainly are. Look at the tag.
Well, marked Bengals, all right, but... Oh, well, you see, Jim, there are 2 kinds of Bengals, Hibiscus rosa sinensis and Rosa japonicus. Now, mine were Hibiscus sinensis, and they're a much hardier variety.
Ed, a rose is a rose. And you said Bengals.
I don't like to argue, Jim, but I said Hibiscus sinensis. You see, the japonicus is very susceptible to mildew and thrips.
That's bad, huh?
Oh, yeah, especially around here. The japonicus doesn't do well in Springfield at all. It needs a much milder climate.
I see. You wouldn't consider moving? Nothing. I'll keep looking, Ed. After all, what's a few more days? I wouldn't be able to do anything but work anyway.
Mr. Anderson?
Well, hello there. We're back here near the garage.
Mr. Anderson, I don't know what to say. Mr. Reed is most apologetic.
Yes, I'm sure he must be.
Well, I'll be getting back to my gardening. I've got another bed of geraniums to set up.
I'm sorry they weren't the right ones, Ed.
Oh, that's all right, Jim. There's no particular hurry, I guess.
Mr. Anderson, I want to assure you that we've done everything in our power to keep Gargantua at home.
I'm sure you have.
I've gone over the fence with a fine-tooth comb. We've fixed everything, and still he gets out.
Maybe the fence isn't high enough.
Well, it's quite high, but we're going to make it higher. And now, if I may have the dog.
Yes, Kathy. Now, where the dickens did she go? Kathy!
You want me, Daddy?
Where's George?
George?
No, we call him George. Kathy!
I'm coming, Daddy.
Maybe if you called him George, he'd stay home.
Well, it might be a little confusing, but we'll try.
Kathy, why is it... What happened to George?
I don't know, Daddy. Isn't he with you?
No, he isn't with me. Where'd he go?
I don't know.
Kathy, why is it that every time Mr. Reed's chauffeur...
George.
Thank you. Every time George shows up, George... George?
Yes, sir. George.
Oh. Well, why is it every time George shows up, the dog disappears?
I don't know.
What do you know?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, George, but George, Gargantua. George!
Jim!
Ed, is George over there?
He certainly is, and I'm very slowly reaching a point where I don't think it's at all funny.
Ed, he didn't tear up another rose bush.
No.
Well, thank goodness.
This time he got the geranium.
George dug up the geranium?
No, but I made a bed, and he's lying in it.
$35 for 2 miserable little rose bushes. It's criminal, that's what it is.
Jim, let's just be thankful that we were able to find them.
Hibiscus sinensis. Margaret, if I ever see that dog again, so help me...
Jim,
What's the matter?
he's back.
Oh, no, he can't be.
Well, stop the car, Jim. We've got to get him.
Why? Why can't we just pretend that we've never met George? That we've never even heard of him?
Dear, we owe it to Mr. Reed.
Mr. Reed. He's the one who ought to pay for the roses. George is his dog.
Jim, that's not being very charitable.
Well, I don't feel very charitable. Where is he?
Back of the Willoughby fence.
Again? Margaret, that's the stupidest animal I've ever seen in my life. This is the 8th time he's been stuck in the Willoughby's yard. Any dog with half a brain knows you can jump both ways over a fence. Come here, you silly mongrel.
Oh, Jim, isn't that sweet? He knows us.
Well, why shouldn't he know us? He's been boarding with us for almost a week.
Come on, George. That's a good boy. Take his collar, Jim.
I'd like to wring his neck. Come on, George.
Jim, I don't think you're being very nice to him.
Well, I don't think he's being very nice to us. George, will you please make up your mind? You want to come home with us, or are you going to stay here?
Daddy! Oh, Daddy, you found him again! Oh, George, I'm so happy to see you. Oh, my wonderful George.
Kathy,
Nice
drag that
boy.
animal over to our house.
Oh, you don't have to drag him, Daddy.
Well, get him over there. And this time, hang on to him.
Okay, Daddy. Come on, George. I'll race you to the garage.
Man's best friend. Intelligent and loyal. A half-witted caterpillar has more intelligence than that George.
Jim, how about the car?
I'll come back for it later. Right now, I'm going to call that Reed guy and give him a piece of my mind. That's what I'm going to do. If he can't learn to take better care of a dog, he doesn't have any business owning one.
Jim, I'm sure Mr. Reed is doing everything he can.
Well, it isn't enough. Owning a dog is a responsibility to the dog and the neighborhood and everybody else. Let a dog run wild that way, first thing you know, you'll be hit by a car. He's liable to be killed.
I thought you didn't like George.
I don't. I mean, well, he's all right, I guess, but they have no business letting him run around the way they do.
Jim, please don't be too abrupt. Mr. Reed is just as concerned about George as we are.
Well, why shouldn't he be? It's his dog. Hello? Oh, this is Jim Anderson. Yes, he's here again. And look, George, I think it's high time... Well, okay. He's coming right over.
Jim, when he gets here, please remember that George isn't responsible for George. After all, he's merely the chauffeur.
Which one?
George.
Oh.
He told me this morning that Mr. Reed was going to have the entire fence made higher, and if Mr. Reed thinks that much of George...
Just a minute, Margaret. Bud!
You want me, Dad?
Go outside and hang on to George.
Okay.
Betty!
Yes, Father?
Are you in your room?
Yes, Father.
Well, look out the window and keep an eye on George.
Okay.
He won't get away this time if I can help it. Now, what were you saying, Margaret?
Well, I merely said that if Mr. Reed thought that much of George...
See, God, now what?
I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Anderson.
Well, you should be. Anybody who can't take better care of a nice dog like George...
We do take care of him, Mr. Anderson. We still can't understand how he gets away.
That's a very poor excuse. How would you feel if I... Wait a minute. How did you get over here so fast?
Well, I left the moment I hung up.
I know, but from clear over on Orchard Avenue...
Oh, we haven't lived on Orchard Avenue for almost a week. We moved into the Willoughby house on the corner.
Oh, no.
Yes, it's Father Knows Best, transcribed in Hollywood, starring Robert Young as father. A half-hour visit with your new neighbors, the Andersons. Brought to you by Maxwell House, the coffee that's bought and enjoyed by more people than any other brand of coffee at any price. Maxwell House, always good to the last drop. In every family, there are special days. Days which, though simple, will live forever in our memory. There's the day Junior had his first haircut. The day Dad backed into the garage door. Or the day Mother didn't back into the garage door. In Springfield, in the white frame house on Maple Street, it's dinner time. And one of those days is in the making. It will be known as long as an Anderson remains as the day Father received the Christmas bill. Like this.
It's outrageous, that's what it is. The most outrageous thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Pass the potatoes to your father, Betty.
Yes, Mother. Potatoes, Father.
Thank you. It's gotten so that Christmas isn't a period of joy and celebration. It's a plot to collect all the money overlooked by the government. I've never seen such an assortment of bills.
Kathy, won't you please eat your dinner?
But I have to watch Daddy.
I'm sure he'd much rather you ate your dinner.
But I want to see the steam come out of his ears.
The what?
Well, Bud said when you saw all those bills.
Holy cow, Kathy. I didn't mean it really would. I was just, you know. It sure was cold out today, wasn't it?
Well, for certain people, it's going to get warmer. Much warmer. Have the bread, please.
Here you are, Dan.
Thank you.
Say, Dad.
Look at this. $17.70 for mucklucks. Now, what the devil are mucklucks?
The knitted slippers, dear.
For $17.70?
That's for 6 pair, Jim. I sent them to my sister Kathleen and her family.
Oh, fine. Now, what did she send us? 5 napkin rings painted by hand in the kindergarten of a school for backward children.
Jim, that's not the proper attitude to take.
Oh, it isn't it? You don't see that brother-in-law of yours shelling out any $17.70 for mucklucks, do you? I tell you, Margaret, we've got to realize that we aren't the Morgans or the Rockefellers. We're just plain, simple people, and we've got to act that way.
Yes, dear.
Say, Dad.
When I was a boy, thrift was an important part of the daily life. The family worked together to see how little it could spend, not how much. They tried to help put something away for a rainy day. Not us. This family lives in a continual cloudburst.
Dad.
What is it, Bud?
As long as we're talking about money, I need $5.
Bud.
Oh, that's fine. That's just great. I give out with a long lecture on thrift and economy, and all it does is remind my son that he needs $5. Now, why do you need $5?
To be a bird watcher.
A what?
A bird watcher. You watch birds.
I wouldn't care if you watched elephants. Why does it have to cost $5?
Well, you have to buy a manual. It tells you how to watch. And you get a button. And they have meetings every Tuesday and Thursday night.
No.
But, Dad, watching birds makes you alert.
No?
It gives you a better understanding of your feathered friend.
No.
And it's educational.
No.
Oh, gosh. You certainly want me to be educated, don't you?
Yes?
Then I can go?
No.
Oh, would you care for some more coffee, dear?
I certainly would. Thank you.
I'll bet Evelyn Finney's a bird watcher.
You keep out of this, Kathy.
Bud's got a girl.
I have not. You just wait, Kathy. That's all. Just wait.
Bud's got a girl.
Dad.
All right, Kathy. Stop that and drink your milk.
But I did. It's all gone.
Well, get some more milk and drink it.
Gee whiz.
And behave yourself. Now, where was I?
The part about putting something away for a rainy day.
Thank you. Rainy day. Oh, look, I don't want you to think I'm being stingy or that I don't want you to enjoy a healthy, normal life, but what's that?
What's what, dear?
On the buffet, is that another album of records?
Oh, you ought to hear them, Father. They're simply dreamy.
You see, that's what I mean. A new album, and we've got so many records now we can join the Disc Jockeys Union.
Do disc jockeys have a union, Daddy?
How do I know?
Well, you just said
I
that...
said if they had a union, we could join it.
Why?
Because we have so many records.
Are you going to be a disc jockey, Daddy?
No, I'm not going to be a disc jockey.
Why not?
Because I'm an insurance jockey. I mean... Oh, Kathy, drink your milk.
I did. Twice.
Well, eat your cake.
I don't have any cake.
What have you got?
Jell-O.
Well, eat it and be quiet.
Gee whiz.
Father, there's no need to get excited about the record.
Now, don't tell me what to get excited about and what not to get excited about. You have no right to waste money on more records.
But, Father...
$5 for bird watchers and $5 for records.
They cost $7.50.
$7.50? Betty Anderson, you mean those records cost $7.50?
Yes, Father.
Oh,
but...
that's fine. Just fine. We've got records you haven't touched in 5 years, but they're no good. You've got to buy new ones for $7.50.
But, Father...
When I was a boy, I couldn't buy a new record till the old one wore out.
But, Father...
I played Dardanella so long the fuzz on the turntable came through.
But, Father...
And stop but-fathering me. You have no right to waste $7.50 on records.
But, Father, I didn't. I borrowed them from Janie Liggett.
I don't care where you got them. You have no right to... Oh. Well, where was I?
A rainy day, dear.
Page 2.
All right, laugh. Go ahead. The whole thing is a big joke. It's very funny. But I'm telling you right now, we're spending too much money. And we're going to cut down.
Oh, Jim, I don't think we're extravagant, any of us.
Okay, you're not extravagant. You just spend too much money.
But we don't waste anything, dear. And we don't spend money unnecessarily.
Oh, we don't we? I suppose $5 to watch birds isn't unnecessary. If Bud has to watch birds, he can sit on the front porch and watch them for 10 years. It won't cost him a dime.
Holy cow.
This family has to learn to conserve. We've got to make things do. Now, here, look at this. Another pair of shoes for Kathy. That's the third pair in 6 months.
But, Daddy, I'm growing.
Well, do you have to grow so fast?
Mother!
Oh, it's all right, dear. Your father's only joking.
Sure, I'm only joking, Kathy. But there's one thing I'm not joking about. This family has to stop spending so much money. And we've got to stop running around. We're going to stay home and enjoy the simple things of life. We've got magazines to read, books to read. I spent $190 for the encyclopedia, and nobody's ever gotten past Marib to Mushy.
Jim, there's one thing you don't seem to understand.
Just a moment, dear. Bud, the phone.
It's Cassie's turn.
It is not. But I'll answer it anyway. See if I care.
What is it you were saying, Margaret?
Well, I was saying that there's one thing you don't seem to understand, that no one has even mentioned going out tonight. Everyone was quite satisfied and quite happy, and this entire discussion seems to be absolutely pointless.
Is that so? If I didn't put my foot down every once in a while, this whole family would go to pot. Nobody would ever stay home.
Daddy, it's for you.
Thank you, Kathy.
It's Mr. Smith, Daddy.
Thank you, dear. Hello, Heck. No, we were just finishing our dinner. The drugstore? Well, I hadn't thought about going down there, but... Pick up cards for what? You mean the game is tonight? Oh. Well, Look, Heck, maybe you'd better not figure on me for tonight. Well, frankly, I forgot all about it, and I got myself into a situation here. Yes, I know, Heck, but couldn't you get George Phillips? Out of town, huh? Just a minute, Heck. Kathy, there's somebody at the door.
Okay.
Sorry, Heck. Well, look, there must be somebody else you can get for the game. There isn't, huh? Well, I'll do whatever I can, Heck, but it's going to be tough. Okay. But if I'm not there by 8, well, you'd better call me. Okay, Heck, I'll see you. Ye gods, the things I get myself into.
Is there anything wrong, dear?
No, nothing wrong. Let's see, what were we talking about?
Nobody goes out tonight.
Well, of course, I don't mean that we have to live like hermits.
Of course not, dear.
There are circumstances when it will be necessary and proper for us to spend an evening away from home. A special picture that we won't want to miss, or a meeting, or something.
You're so right, dear, but after that long lecture you just finished, naturally you don't mean tonight. Do you, dear?
Oh, no, naturally not tonight. We'll all spend a quiet evening at home. Tonight.
Daddy.
Yes, Kathy?
Daddy, may I please have $1.25?
You certainly may not.
But, Daddy...
You see, Margaret, that's just what I meant about discipline. This entire discussion about thrift and economy was absolutely wasted. Everything I said went in one ear and out the other. I spent 15 minutes explaining that we had to take it easy, that we had to cut down on our spending. And what happened? As soon as I stopped to take a deep breath, Bud needs $5 to watch birds, and Kathy needs $1.25. Now, why on earth do you suddenly need $1.25?
To pay the paper boy.
Oh.
You know, for all his talking, Father wouldn't think of doing without that paper. It's one of those things that means so much to every day that comes along. And something else we count on, you and I, day in and day out, is coffee. I mean really good coffee, like our Maxwell House. Coffee you sit down to and enjoy, cup after cup. That good to the last drop flavor. You won't find it in any other coffee. No coffee but Maxwell House. And as you'd expect, there's a very real reason why. It's a recipe, the only recipe there is for that good to the last drop flavor. It's mighty important, that recipe of ours, because the flavor of the coffee you enjoy depends on the blend, the kind of coffee's in it, and how they're put together. Now, coffee grows in many different varieties, and you can blend them in all sorts of ways. But there's only one way, one recipe for our famous Maxwell House flavor. And when all's said and done, it's this recipe of ours that makes the difference. The big difference between just another coffee and the wonderfully good flavor of America's favorite brand. It's a difference you'll taste for yourself the very first time you pour a cup of our Maxwell House coffee. And I hope you will, tomorrow. Hope you'll start enjoying the coffee that's always good to the last drop.
In the white frame house on Maple Street, an hour has passed, and a long, long hour it's been. For Jim Anderson, the minutes have dragged by in endless procession. His active mind is buzzing with a weird assortment of masculine schemes, every one of them taken from the file headed How to Get Out of the House. A dozen fantastic plans have already been tried, and none of them has worked. But you've got to give Jim credit. The kid's still in there pitching like this.
Margaret,
Yes, dear?
do you have the correct time?
Oh, I think so. It's 5 minutes of 8.
Uh-huh. Just what I thought. This doggone watch is on the blink again. Just won't keep time.
Well, what time do you have, dear?
7 of.
Well, Jim, that's a difference of only 2 minutes.
Only 2 minutes? Margaret, do you realize the things that have happened in 2 minutes? Wars have been won and lost. The entire course of civilization has been changed. I better have it fixed.
All right, dear.
As a matter of fact, as long as I'm not doing anything right now, I might as well run down to the jeweler's. And, it might take some time. You know how fussy jewelers can be about a watch. So, maybe you'd better not wait up for me.
Jim,
Yes, dear?
Christmas is over. The jewelers all close at 5:30.
They do. You mean, all of them?
Yes, dear.
Oh.
You ought to see the watch Joe Phillips got for Christmas, Dad. Boy, is that a watch. Shatterproof, sharkproof, waterproof, heatproof, and it's guaranteed to last him a lifetime. But it won't.
Why not?
He lost it.
But instead of making bad jokes, why don't you go upstairs and do your homework?
That wasn't a joke, Dad.
You can say that again.
You mean the whole thing?
Bud. Go upstairs and do your homework.
Okay. You wouldn't want to help me, would you?
That's right.
Yeah, I sort of figured you wouldn't. Well, I'll see you later.
Margaret, I think I'll go out for a little walk.
Why, Jim, it's snowing.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a little snow. Does a man good to get out in the snow once in a while. The air crisp and clear, the ground all white and peaceful.
Jim Anderson, you're not going to tramp around in the snow at your age. I have enough to do without taking care of a sick husband. And stop pacing up and down the room like a caged lion.
Father,
Yes, Betty?
I'll play checkers with you if you like.
Thank you. But I'd rather see you doing your homework.
Oh, I don't have any homework. I finished it this afternoon.
Well, go sew something. Or read a book. And don't tell me you read a book.
I'll spot you 2 kings.
I don't need to be spotted 2 kings, and I don't want to play checkers. Margaret,
Yes, dear.
do you need anything at the drugstore?
No, dear, not a thing.
We're kind of low on toothpaste this morning.
I got some this afternoon.
Oh, you did. Soap holding up all right?
Just fine.
Uh-huh. Say, I think I'll run out and get something to smoke. Yes, sir, that's just what I'll do.
Jim,
Yes, Margaret?
I bought you a carton of cigarettes this afternoon, and there's a whole humidor full of pipe tobacco.
You know, it's a funny thing, but I just feel like smoking a cigar.
Jim, I didn't know you smoked cigars.
Well, of course. After all, there's nothing like a good cigar. You know what Rudyard Kipling said? A woman is only a woman, but a good cigar is a smoke. Yeah, I'll get it.
Jim, be careful.
Who the dickens moved the lamp over to this side?
Oh, Jim, how could you?
Well, how do you expect me to keep track of where the lamps are if you keep moving them around all the time? Anyway, well, I'm sorry, Margaret. I was just...
The phone's ringing.
Betty, be a good girl and clean up this mess, will you?
All right, Father.
Don't worry about the lamp, Margaret. We'll get it fixed or something.
A good lamp. Just look at it.
6 lamps right in your way when you're in a hurry. Naturally, they get knocked down. Hello? Hey, hello, Heck. What do you mean, am I still here? Of course not. I left for your house 20 minutes ago. Heck, I'm doing everything I can. I can't do it, Heck. I can't just walk out. Because I can't, that's why. I am trying. Well, stop worrying about it. I'll figure something out. Okay. Yeah, call me later. So long.
Who is that, dear?
It was Hector, honey. He just wanted to talk to me.
About what, dear? Is anything wrong?
Oh, no. He wanted me to come over there. He probably wants to talk to me about something.
Like what, dear?
Well, it's probably very complicated. You'd be surprised.
I'll bet I would.
Yeah. Are you through with the newspaper, dear?
I think so.
Well, I guess I'll sit down and read the paper.
That's a very good idea.
Daddy,
We're in the den, Kathy.
Daddy, I just thought of something wonderful to save money. How much does water cost?
Not very much, dear. Why?
Well, it costs something to get it hot, doesn't it? So I thought if I only took 1 bath a week...
Are you supposed to be taking a bath now?
Uh-huh.
Well, take it.
But you said we had to save money, and I thought if I only took...
Kathy, go upstairs and take your bath.
Gee whiz.
You heard your father, Kathy. Now go ahead.
First they want to save money, then they don't want to save money. Why don't they make up their minds?
Say, did you see this in the paper? They're having a big meeting in the school auditorium.
Tomorrow night.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. It's tomorrow.
Jim.
Father, I put all the broken pieces on the service porch, but I don't think they can fix the lamp. It's a mess.
Thank you, Betty.
You're welcome.
Were you going to say something, dear?
Oh, no, it's all right.
Mother,
Yes, Betty.
have you seen the records I borrowed from Janie?
Well, no, dear, I haven't. Where did you leave them?
Well, I put them over there on Father's chair. Father, you're sitting on them.
I am? Oh, I thought it felt kind of funny.
Oh, Father, how could you? $7.50 worth of South Pacific, and look at it.
Well, they're only cracked a little, Betty. Hey, look at this one. Only the front part of it's broken off. You can still play the whole chorus, and that's all anybody listens to anyway.
she'll never talk to me again, and I don't blame her.
Oh, Betty, will you please stop that moaning and groaning? I'll buy Janie another album. And stop looking at me as though I went around beating little children.
Yes, Father.
Man tries to spend a quiet evening at home, and what happens? Lamps fall down, people stuff records under his cushions. I'll get it.
Jim, please be careful.
Margaret, I make a practice of knocking lamps down. Anybody listening to you would think I broke a lamp every day.
Yes, dear, but be careful just the same.
Never liked the darn lamp anyway. Silliest looking lamp I ever saw in my life. Hello? Yes, I'm still here. Look, Heck, I told you in the very beginning I didn't think I could make it. Well, I did try. I tried everything but chloroform. It won't do any good to call me back later. Why don't you just forget the whole thing?
Jim?
Just a minute, Heck. What is it, Margaret?
Is that Hector again?
Yes, dear, it's, Hector.
Well, Jim, if it's really that urgent, why don't you run over there?
You wouldn't mind?
No, but if they can't get anyone else, why don't you have them come over here for the game?
The game. Over here?
Well, there's no reason why they can't play poker here.
There isn't?
Of course not.
Oh. Well, say, Heck, how about playing over here? It would, huh? Well, fine. Oh, of course not. Margaret won't mind at all. Okay, see you in a little while. Goodbye. Margaret,
Yes, Jim.
well, you see, I'd forgotten all about this date I had with the boys, and, well, I told them to get somebody else.
Just a moment,
but,
dear. Bud.
You want me, Mom?
Yes, dear. I want you to go to the delicatessen.
Okay, I'll be down in a minute.
Why does he have to go to the delicatessen?
Well, you'll be busy getting the card things ready, dear, and there isn't a thing in the house. We'll have to serve something.
Well, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate.
Oh, no, but we'll need a few slices of ham and some liverwurst and bologna and cheese, a few loaves of bread, potato chips, pickles.
Why do we need pickles? There's no sense in running hog wild just because a couple of men are coming over to play poker. I told you at dinner, Margaret, we've got to cut down on our expenses.
All right, dear, no pickles. After all, Father knows.
In an average town, Springfield, on an average street, Maple, lives an average American family, the Hendersons. The husband, Jim, is very much in love with his wife, Margaret, and they're both quite fond of their three children, Betty, Bud, and Kathleen, which I should say is average way for parents to feel. On this particular morning, which is an average sort of day, the Hendersons are ready for an average sort of meal, breakfast. Well, they're supposed to be ready, but you know how it is. The average mother calls,
Jim, your breakfast is on the table.
and the average answer is,
Mother, I can't find my skate.
Kathleen, come in and start your breakfast.
Oh, breakfast. Don't you understand, Mother? This is a crisis. How can I go to school without my skate?
Eat your breakfast, dear, and we'll look for the skates later.
Oh, but I have looked for them. I've looked just every place. They simply varnished.
Vanished, Kathy. Did you look in the hall under the telephone table?
Mother, that's practically the first place I looked.
Well, how about the service port?
They aren't there. They aren't anywhere. Oh, what am I going to do?
You're going to eat your breakfast. I'll run out to the garage and see if you left them there. And don't use too much sugar on your cereal.
Look way in the back, Mother, near the magazine. Oatmeal. That's all you ever get around here is oatmeal. Ah! Good morning, Daddy, dear.
I want to speak to you, young lady.
What about, Daddy?
Skates. How many times have I asked you not to leave your skates on the stairs?
Oh, is that where they were?
Oh.
Golly. I looked simply everywhere, and I couldn't find them.
Good morning, dear. Did you have a nice... Jim! What did you do to your chin?
I came down the stairs on it.
Let me see. Oh, Jim, your poor chin.
Isn't it wonderful, Mother? Daddy fell down the stairs and found my skate.
I did not fall down the stairs.
Please, Jim, hold still. How can I fix your
I will
chin?
not have that child telling people I fell down the stairs. I tripped over her confounded skates. Is that the only place she can find to leave them?
Well, she's very sorry, dear, aren't you, Kathy?
Oh, sure. Daddy.
Not now, Kathy. Have some coffee, Jim. It'll make you feel better.
Other people have children and they have skates. But other people have discipline in their homes, old-fashioned discipline. The kind of discipline we had in my home when I was a boy. There was a place for everything and everything in it.
Hey, Mom.
I'm sorry, dear. We'll try to do better. What is it, Bud?
I can't find my other shoe. Where'd you put it?
Look under the dresser.
Okay.
Is that where you generally put his other shoe?
Sometime.
Hmm.
How do you want your eggs this morning, dear?
Daddy,
I don't care.
I was just wondering.
Kathy, this is a
maybe-
very bad time to bother your father. We'd better let it go for a while. Shall I scramble them, Jim?
Oh,
Yeah,
but it's
that's
important, Mother. It's the most important thing in my life.
What is?
It's really nothing, dear.
All
It's-
right, Kathy, stop looking like Ingrid Bergman and tell me what it is.
I need $2, Daddy. I'm desperate.
$2? What for?
Wings.
What did she say, Margaret?
She said wings.
That's what I thought. Why does she need wings?
I have to be an angel. I told them I would. I just have to be. And they cost $2.
It's the school play, dear. Kathleen said she'd be an angel.
Well, I can see they're certainly not casting to type. Kathy, you get an allowance, don't you?
If you can call it that. A quarter.
When I was 9 years old, I had to work for every penny I got. I couldn't walk up to my father and say, I want $2 for wings.
Were you an angel?
I most certainly was not.
Well, then, you didn't need wings. But I promised I'd be an angel.
All right, then find a way to sprout wings without my $2.
Oh, but Daddy, I'll be just ruined. Oh, Mother, can't
We won't
you?
discuss it any further, Kathy. Your father knows best.
How will I face them without wings? They were counting on me.
Morning, everybody. How's it? What happened to the squirt?
Oh, just a minor tragedy. Drink your orange juice, Bud.
Say, Dad, I was just thinking.
Bud, not now. Let your father read the paper.
But I was just going to tell him
Not
about.
now, dear. Please.
Oh, but I have to. Gosh, how much time have I got left?
You don't mind if I get in on this, do you? How much time for what?
Well, Dad, we're going on a picnic tomorrow. A whole bunch of us.
Fine, have a good time.
He can go on picnics, and I can't even have wings. You treat me like an orphan around here. Nobody even loves me.
Oh, Kathy, stop being dramatic. Everyone loves you.
Sure, but not $2 worth.
Kathleen, your brother's not asking for $2. Your brother's not asking for anything.
Except permission to use the car.
Except permission to use... Except what?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about. You see, we're all going out in the country, and I told everybody...
You're not going to use the car.
Oh, but, Dad, if I don't, how am I going to go?
You have a bicycle, haven't you? When I was your age, I was traveling all over the state on my bicycle.
With a girl? How can I take a girl on a bicycle?
Jim, I just thought
One moment,
that...
Margaret. James Henderson, Jr., you are 15 years of age, and young men 15 years of age do not go traipsing around the country with girls in my car.
But everybody else does, Dad. I mean, they get to use their father's car. Joe Phillips uses his father's car, and he's 2 months younger than I am.
I wouldn't care if he was 3 months younger and had wings. You may not have the car.
Bud, you know your father doesn't approve of children driving automobiles.
Children. If I want the car, I'm too young. If I want to go to the circus, I'm too old. I wish somebody around here would decide how old I am.
We've decided you're too young. Now, that'll be all of that.
I'll be an outcast. That's what I'll be. I'll be poisoned with every hunk of date bait in the school. Me and a bicycle.
Bud, you'd better eat your eggs before they get ice cold.
What a time to think about eggs. Dad, how would it be if
No.
But I was just going to...
No.
But you don't even know...
No. Whatever it is, no.
Oh, fine. The way I'm treated around here, you'd think I was an orphan.
Copycat, I said it first.
Quiet, Squirt.
Kathy, leave your brother alone and finish your milk.
But I did say it first, didn't I, Daddy? I said it first and Bud heard me, and he's an old copycat.
I am not. I wasn't even listening to you.
You were, too. You heard me say it, and then you said it, and you're an old copycat.
I am not.
You are so.
I am not.
You are so.
Quiet, both of you, quiet. Oh, Margaret, why can't we ever have a peaceful breakfast in this house?
I'm sorry.
I don't think it's asking an awful lot. When I was a boy, we had wonderful breakfasts, quiet breakfasts, peaceful breakfasts. We had respect for our elders.
Sure, but you didn't have a kid sister like the brat.
I'm not a brat.
You're a brat if I ever saw one.
I am not.
You are so.
I am not.
You are so.
Quiet!
Good morning, Mother. Good morning, Father.
What's the matter with her?
Too late.
I know. I was looking out the window at a bird. It was sitting on an egg.
How'd you ever tear yourself away?
Dear Bud. Such a lovable little moron.
Betty, dear, you sound so strange this morning. Is anything wrong?
Wrong. Oh, Mother, how can you even say that? In this lovely, wonderful world, how could anything be wrong?
Hey, Pop, you better hide your wallet. This one's gonna be a pip.
Father, if you don't do something about
Betty,
that
if you
child...
don't mind, I believe I can manage my family without your assistance. Kathy,
Yes, Daddy.
as your father, I'm quite capable of handling my own financial affairs. It may be a strain, but I can manage.
Yes, Daddy.
And I would prefer that even in moments of stress, you refrain from addressing me as Hey Pop.
Okay, Daddy.
Finally, I believe I am as well qualified as you to recognize the devious routes employed by your sister in leading up to the announcement that she needs a new dress.
That's telling her, Pop.
What?
I mean, Daddy.
You're all very amusing, but I don't need a new dress.
Dear, are you sure you feel all right?
I feel fine.
Betty, you don't want any money?
No, Father, why?
You don't want to borrow the car?
Of course not.
Well, at least there's one sensible child in this family. Betty, I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Father.
Yes, sir. What this country needs is more children who leave their fathers alone at the breakfast table. I think I'll have another cup of coffee, Margaret.
All right, dear. There you are.
Thank you. Well, Betty, what's the good word in your little world?
Oh, just the most wonderful thing has happened, Father. I'm going to be married.
Hold your arms up over your head quickly, Bud. Hold on the back.
What for? What happened?
Don't stand there. Do something. Do you want him to talk to this? Jim.
I'm all right, I see.
You're going to be fine, Ted. Just fine.
Well, stop beating me on the back or I'll never be all right.
Oh, but Mother
I
told
did
me...
not tell you to break your father's spine.
Well, you told me to pound him.
With your hand, not your books.
Bud, you're going to be late for school.
I get it. Come on, Kathy.
Come on, where?
You're going to school.
I don't have to leave for 10 minutes.
Oh, that's what you think.
Hey, stop calling me, you brute.
See
I
you
have to
later,
get my
everybody.
things. Mother!
All right, Betty. Now, what was that newsy little item you dropped into the middle of my coffee?
Oh, you mean about getting married. Isn't it wonderful?
Margaret, did you know anything about this?
Not a word, Jim. I still don't. Betty, you're joking, aren't you?
Joking? Mother, do you think I joke about the most sacred thing in a woman's life?
Jim, she isn't joking.
That's right. Betty, you wouldn't mind giving us a little more information, would you? You know, just in case we want to get in touch with you later.
I don't know what you mean, Father.
Well, just for a start, who is it?
Who's who?
The boy, my prospective son-in-law. What's his name?
Billy. He's wonderful.
Oh, Betty, not Billy Smith.
Just wonderful.
Which one is he?
Oh, you know, Jim, the one who hates football players, the one Betty thinks is aesthetic.
Aesthetic. The one I think it is, that's a new way of spelling anemic.
Billy's delicate. You have to be delicate if you have a beautiful soul.
Well, that's exactly what this family needs, somebody with a beautiful soul. Margaret, I have to get down to the office. Explain to Betty that she'll be happier if she waits. Make certain, you know, the usual woman-to-woman talk.
All right, dear.
Oh, you don't have to worry about us, Father. Billy and I talked it all over last night, and we both decided against a hasty marriage.
We intend to wait.
That's fine. I'll be home at the usual time, dear.
All right, Jim.
We're
If
not
you need-
going to be married until Saturday.
If you need... Saturday?
Uh-huh. Saturday night. We were going to make it in the afternoon, but we decided to go to the basketball game first.
This is an emergency. Put your hat down.
I'll put more than my hat down. Betty, this is the most ridiculous piece of conversation I've ever heard.
Father, you mean you don't approve?
Now, there's the first intelligent remark you've made since you got up. I most decidedly don't approve.
But I don't understand. You've always liked Billy's father.
You mean Hector Smith? Of course I like Hector Smith. He's one of my best clients. Why don't you marry him?
But he is married.
Betty, your father and I've always thought
Just
that
a moment, Margaret. I'll handle this. Betty, you're 17 years of age. You're in your first year at the university. You will not marry Billy Smith or anyone else until after your graduation. That's final.
Graduation, but that's 3.5 years. I'll be over 21. Why, the best years of my life will be gone.
Well, darling, we can always have Bud push you up to the altar in a wheelchair.
You're laughing at me, and I think you're horrid. You're just old-fashioned, both of you. You've forgotten what it is to be young and in love. You don't seem to understand that things are different now.
Oh, Betty, nothing's any different. Things like that don't change.
They do, too. Things change all the time. People change, customs change, everything changes, only you won't admit it.
Oh, darling, why don't you listen to your father? Things are no different now than they were when we were your age. The young people wore different clothes and they sang different songs, but fundamentally they were the same, and even then boys and girls didn't rush headlong into marriage. Not until they were ready for it.
You bet they didn't. They listened to their fathers. They were willing to benefit from a lifetime of experience. Why, when I was courting your mother, I remember
Mother,
when...
how old were you when you married Father?
Well,
Yes, Mother.
I was 17.
But that was different.
Why?
Well, because things were different in those days. The people were different. The times were different.
You said they weren't.
Well, they were. Some of them were. Some of them weren't, and some of them were. Only the ones that weren't were more than the, Margaret.
Betty, don't you think it would be a nice idea if Billy and his family were to have dinner with us tonight?
Oh, Mother, would you? Really?
Margaret, I don't want the Smiths for dinner tonight or any other night. I think the idea of a dinner for the Smiths is not only ridiculous, but unnecessary. I forbid the marriage, and that's that.
Oh, Jim, you know you like having people in for dinner. The Smiths are very pleasant, and you might be able to sell Hector some more insurance.
Yeah, that's right. I might have said. But look, Margaret, I'm going to have a tough day at the office. I couldn't take a dinner tonight. Let's make it next week. Next month.
Dear, we can't put it off for even a day. I'll call the Smiths and see if they can make it. Shall I tell them dinner will be at 7:30?
7:30? What's the matter with 6 o'clock? I'll be starved by 7:30.
Jim, it just isn't done.
Well, it's going to be done tonight. We'll have dinner at 6.
I'll ask them to be prompt, dear, at 7:30.
And Mother, can we dress? I mean, can I wear my new dinner gown? Can I, Mother? Oh, please, can I?
Betty, there will be no dressing for dinner.
But, Father, Mother, please.
I'm sorry, darling. You know I never contradict your father. After all, your father knows best.
It's been a long day for the Hendersons. The specter of a fair young child, married and gone before her time, has hung like a pall throughout the day. It would have, that is, if the Hendersons hadn't been so busy. Jim, you see, had a hectic day at the office.
6? Why, you robber. How about the 2 strokes in back of that tree? And don't tell me those snakes followed you over from the last hole.
At the office. Bud has been involved in the intricacies of a higher education.
But, Margie, it's healthful riding on a bicycle. What? Look at all the fresh air you'll get and the beautiful muscles. We could even... Margie? Hello, Margie? Hello?
Kathy has been involved in serious plans for the future.
What do you mean they don't take girls in the Foreign Legion? I'll bet they do, especially without wings. You just wait, you'll see.
Margaret? Well, Margaret has been very busy cooking an extra special dinner for the Smiths. And if there's one thing Margaret can do, it's cook.
Yes, sir, Margaret. If there's one thing you can do, it's cook. That's what I always say.
You see? Now we can proceed. Proceed.
Thank you, Hector. Would you care for another piece of pie?
Margaret, please, I've already had 2 helpings.
You have 3.
Kathy. How about another cup of coffee, Heck? Nothing like a cup of Margaret's piping hot coffee.
Well, if you insist.
Hector?
I guess I'd better not, Jim. You know how it is. Doctor's orders.
Oh, sure. Well, how about you, Doctor?
Thank you, no. 1 cup of coffee is quite sufficient.
Well, I'm a 2-cup man myself. You know, I was reading just the other day about a
Jim,
fellow used
it's not that we don't enjoy your informative little talk, but I was under the impression that this dinner had, well, shall I say, a more or less definite purpose.
Hmm? Oh, you mean... Oh, sure, absolutely. You know, I had a long talk with Heck before dinner.
Jim, dear, I hate to interrupt, but don't you think it would be a good idea if Bud took Kathy to the movies?
In the middle of the week, I certainly do not. Oh, I see what you mean. Bud, how'd you like to take Kathy to the movies?
Oh, boy.
I wouldn't. I can't think of anything I'd rather do less.
Well, that's fine. Here's $1. Have a good time.
Oh, Dad, do I have to?
Yes, you have
That'll
to.
be enough of that, Kathy.
But I'm surprised. You ought to be glad to take your sister to the movies.
I'd rather go with a gorilla. You don't know what she's like. She never even looks at the picture. She sits around backwards and stares at the people.
They're funnier. I like to look at their faces.
All right, Bud, get going and come home right after the show.
If I'm still alive. Good night, everybody. Come on,
Hey,
Stuart.
stop pulling me. Why do you always have to pull me?
Lovely children.
They mean well, I think.
Mother.
Yes, Betty?
Mother, Billy and I have been talking, and... Billy, you tell them.
Would it be all right if we went to the movies?
Oh, no. Oh, I should say not. We're here for a purpose, a very definite purpose.
Yes, sir.
We have a problem to discuss, and we're going to do it right now.
Frankly, I think the whole thing is idiotic. Imagine discussing a ridiculous subject like marriage with these children.
We're not children, Mother. We're quite adult. We have adult minds, adult bodies, adult passions.
William!
Elizabeth, as I said before, Hector and I had a long talk just a little while ago. Right, Heck?
Right.
And we're in complete agreement on the subject, right?
Right.
We both feel that open discussion is the only sensible procedure in a matter of this sort, right?
Right.
Hector, stop being so agreeable.
Right. I mean, yes, dear.
Myron, Elizabeth, Hector and I have agreed on what we consider a very sound solution to the entire problem. We have decided to permit Betty and Bill to be married immediately.
Jimmy!
Holy cow!
I've never heard anything so outrageous in my entire life. Hector, get your hat. William, we're leaving this instant.
I'm not going, Mother.
As soon as William!
I'm 18, Mother. I've got a mind of my own. I love Betty, and we're going to be married.
Well, I never...
All right, now that's settled. You're going to be married.
Oh, Mother, isn't it wonderful?
I don't know.
Yes, sir. Nothing like marriage and responsibility to set a man straight. Where do you kids figure on living? After you're married, I mean.
Oh.
Well, we sort of figured we'd move
Mother,
in.
couldn't Kathy move in with Bud? Then Billy and I
That's
could have
ridiculous, Betty. You've got to have a home of your own, a place for your roots to take hold and grow. Right, Heck?
Right. Well, gosh, that'd be kind of expensive. And on my allowance...
Oh, don't worry about your allowance, Billy. Married men don't go around taking allowances from their fathers.
They don't.
Of course not. They're too proud to be supported by their fathers.
I'm not.
Of course you are. You'll work, you'll sweat and slave, but you'll come home every week with a juicy pay envelope for your little wife.
Isn't that sweet?
But I don't know how to do anything.
That's not so. Poets make a living, and Mother, he writes the most beautiful poetry.
I'm sure he does, dear.
Billy, recite the one about my hair. It's just wonderful.
Oh, Betty.
Well, it is. Raven tresses on a lofty brow, swept by the winds of time. Isn't that beautiful?
Well, you could get a small house, poet size.
Say, Jim, I saw an apartment advertised the other day. Be just right for the kids. $125 a month, furnished.
Of course, that's without utilities. You know, gas, electricity, telephone.
And food. Don't forget food.
That's right. And laundry and cleaning.
Oh, they won't have to worry about that, Jim. Don't you remember when we were first married, I did all our laundry and cleaning and cooking. I'm sure Betty will want to do at least that for Billy. Won't you, dear?
I guess so.
Betty,
Yes, Billy.
could I talk to you for a minute? Privately?
Of course. Will you excuse us, please? We'll be right back.
It's all right, kids. Take all the time you need. We're in no hurry.
Are they gone?
I think so.
Jim, we did it. Yes, sir. By golly, we did it.
Oh, it was nothing, really.
Jim, stop looking so smug. What was nothing?
The psychological attack I planned for tonight. You see, I felt our wisest possible course from a tactical standpoint. Lay in a feint to their left flank and a drive through the middle. Do you follow me?
Yes, dear. Right up to the part where you started to talk.
Margaret, the whole thing is elemental.
Yes, and very clever.
We pretend to give our consent. That's the feint.
Believe me, I almost did.
Then we hit them with both barrels. The cost of living, the struggle for existence. They retire in disorder. Their armored units are smashed. Their rear guard is demolished.
What a fight.
Dear, the enemy is back.
Oh, come on in, kids. Everything all settled?
I think so, Father.
Pretty much settled, sort of.
That's fine. Now, what did you finally decide?
You know very well what we were forced to decide. We have to wait.
Why, Betty, I thought that you and Billy...
Mr. Smith, you don't have to continue the ridiculous performance you and my father were putting on.
Betty!
Oh, Father, you can be so juvenile at times, really. Apartment is $125 a month.
We know some kids have one for $45.
You older people ought to get straightened out on the simple facts of life before you start fooling around with psychology.
Jim, your mouth is open.
Oh, well, now see here, both of you kids.
Just a moment, Jim. Betty, exactly what do you and Billy intend to do?
Well, as long as our families are determined to exercise parental prerogatives, we'll just have to wait until we're financially self-sufficient. Right, Billy?
Right.
Well, I never.
Betty, how long do you figure it's going to take you and Billy to become financially independent?
A few years.
Well, that gives us a little time to look around for a wedding present, eh, Heck?
That's right, Jim. A couple of years, that's a long time. A lot of things can happen.
Hector, how about another cup of coffee?
Oh, thank you, Margaret. I think I can use one.
You know, Margaret, I'm very relieved. I'm so afraid of hasty marriages.
Don't mind us, Mother. Just go on talking as if we weren't here.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear. It's just that I was so afraid you were going to make the same mistake I did.
Oh, I wouldn't exactly say you made a mistake, Elizabeth. Heck's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, well, thanks, Jim.
You can send me a check in the morning.
I suppose I have been fairly fortunate. But, of course, people aren't always that lucky when they marry beneath them.
I suppose not, but when they what?
Elizabeth, we'd better go. It's getting late.
Wait a minute, Heck. What was that crack you made, Elizabeth?
Well, after all, my mother was a Stuyvesant, and I certainly...
In other words, you think Betty isn't good enough for your son?
I'm sure that isn't what Elizabeth meant, Jim.
That's what she said. Well, isn't that what you said, Lizzie?
Don't you dare call me Lizzie.
Why not? If you can say my daughter isn't good enough for that puny excuse of a son...
Now, just a minute, Jim.
Writing poetry. What makes you think he's such a bargain?
My boy has a fine head on his shoulders.
What shoulders? I've seen better heads on a small beer.
That's so.
Yes, that's so.
This is what comes from slumming.
Slumming? Now, you listen to me, Elizabeth Smith. Your mother may have been a Stuyvesant, but my father spent half his life picking your father out of the gutter.
And he wasn't lying down just because he was tired.
I think I'm going to faint. Hector, I'm going to faint.
Go ahead, dear. I'll catch you.
You ought to be ashamed, upsetting my mother with your vulgar insinuations.
Vulgar? Why, you little pipsqueak. If you were my son, I'd vulgar you so hard you wouldn't sit down for a week.
Fortunately, I am not your son. Peasant?
Peasant?
Don't you dare call my father a peasant, Billy Smith. Don't you dare.
Well, that's what he is.
He is not.
He certainly is.
Well, I'd rather be a peasant than a
Pipsqueak.
Don't you call me a pipsqueak.
I will if I want to. Pipsqueak.
Peasant.
I never want to see you again as long as I live.
Well, you won't if I can help
You're
it.
just a
Hector. Just a minute, dear. Say, Jim.
Sorry I lost my temper, Heck.
Oh, that's all right. Say, Jim, that thing about... Say, Jim, that thing about picking Elizabeth's father out of the gutter, is that true?
Sure, it's true. Why?
Oh, just wait till she pulls that Stuyvesant stuff on me again. Well, thanks for a lovely evening, folks. Come on, Lizzie.
Yes, dear.
And, Billy?
Yes, Father.
Come on, Pipsqueak.
Well, we started with breakfast, and we might as well finish the same way. Let's drop in at the Hendersons at breakfast time the very next morning. The average children are still getting dressed. The average mother is racing around the kitchen. And the average father...
Jim, where are you going?
I got to rush, dear. Can't stop for breakfast. Just time to catch the bus.
The bus, but I thought you
Never
said...
mind what I said. Just tell Bud if he gets one scratch on that car, I'll brain him.
All right, dear.
I'll be home at the usual time. Be a good girl.
I'll try, dear. Oh, Jim.
Yes?
Where did you leave the car key?
Keys? Oh, they're on the dresser. On top of Kathy's $2.
Jim,
Now what's the matter?
remind me to tell you, you're an angel.
I'm a dope.
You are not.
I've got witnesses.
Oh, well, why should I argue? After all, Father knows best.